The idea here is we're going to lay Matt and Goldie a nice, beautiful, flat, solid Adobe floor. It turns into one giant, solid, 3-inch thick Adobe block. And since clay naturally expands when it gets wet, contracts when it dries, we're going to be in there for the next 2 days in the mornings, compressing it downward, forcing all of that contraction to happen in one direction. Today, we're just going to be mixing the mud, we're going to be wheelbarrowing it in, and then I'll be working on the floor laying the mud out, and whoever wants to work with me. I made a couple of wood floats this morning, and we just bring in the wheelbarrows and we'll help make sure there's heat tubes on the floor. We don't want to set the wheelbarrow nose on those. So we'll be dumping it out and then leveling it out from there. And I'll go through the whole process. Anybody that wants to learn the mix and the hows and whys will go out there and work with Matt, get him started on the mix. He's going to need a helper and probably need some relief out there too. So we're going to want to be cycling through as we can between on the floor, running wheelbarrows, and helping Matt out in the scalding sun get the mud mixed up. This is our crusher fines, which is mostly aggregate and a thin line of clay here. And this is our actual clay, a lot of which is still suspended in the water. There's a big layer of clay on the top, and then some heavier stuff on the bottom. So we're going to start with roughly 10 parts crusher fines, 1 part clay, see where we end up. If we need to increase the aggregate quantity up to 12 to 1, we'll do that. So this is just pure clay that was sifted years ago. It's a micaceous clay, which is where all the sparkle is coming from. That's probably a good load there to have to carry.
See that sparkle.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So this is almost pure clay. You could do pottery or, I mean, just about anything you wanted with this clay. It's almost pure. Yeah, let's see what we got here. Okay. So this is actually looking really nice. Forms a nice tight ball, right? Won't re-liquefy if I jiggle it. It just sticks together. On my hands, I've got a nice even coat of clay along with the aggregate there. If I rub that out a little bit, we actually get a shine from the clay still on top of all of the rocks and everything. I'm thinking we've got just a little too much clay in here still. So I want to add another 2 shovels and keep spinning it. Maybe a touch more water if that dries it out. But that is really close. That is a really close mix. Just a little too much clay left on my hands. I want that spread more over the rocks and sand in the aggregate. So again,
dry, yeah. Compared to
very dry.
Compared to
That's what we're after. So,
wall stuff.
and look how much clay is, how much less clay is now stuck to my hands.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's all in the aggregate. Okay, so that's about right. So we're at 11 to 1. Yeah, that's 22 to 2. So that's going to be my vote. Is it's all still stuck together. We haven't spread the clay out so far that it's easy to crumble and break apart. All right, it's still wanting to stick together, even though I just crushed it. So we've got enough clay in there to get it bound together, but not so much extra that it's left on my hands. Okay. Yeah, you get used to this shoulder shrug at the bottom. This little shoulder shrug to dip that. Yep.
You want me to put the tape down either?
Nope, we don't necessarily need it. So we're just gonna, here along the wall, it's really touchy. We don't want to go too high. That's why I'm working the hard part around the pipes first here.
So we want to take. I want to go run the other mixer.
I got you.
Okay. So yeah, somebody want to take over this? And thank you, Matt.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Okay. So we can have you back out a little bit. Yep. And then back out. So when you're using steel trowels, these are riveted on through the blade. Pressure always gets applied to this face of the trowel. You never use this side either for lifting and scooping like this, when you're lifting up, or scraping this way. You always push, okay? So you're always pushing against the face of the trowel. Okay. See, a lot of people, the whole blade of the trowel will peel off the foot from trying to load this. This is the direction they're meant to push on. So. We want to leave our edge square. We don't want to try to feather this down at all. Like, we don't want any kind of slope when we do this. We want a nice crisp edge, just like this, right here. So we just come right off. See, I need to build up a little more, so I'll pull some of this.
So are you trying to push this down at all, or just?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep,
okay.
we're compacting it, and
Okay.
so we want to bring it up exactly to our level so that we can bring this off for the rest of the floor with our levels. And then we can come back, because there's some waves in this. There's a little bit of a low here. It's a little high over here. We can come back and flatten that out as we use a level, and it'll show us, because it'll only touch where the humps are. And there'll be a gap underneath the level where the low spots are. So we take that and we scrape off the hump and move it over into the valley. This one. There. Yes.
That's good.
Should be perfect. Yep.
Wait, do you need any help in here?
See how we're actually bringing the clay up and leaving it on the surface? The wood floats, so after we're done with the steel to have to scrape and give us a nice surface, we want to take the wood and open the surface back up. Okay? See, I'm just kind of shaving that. If I keep that edge right on the line, right? Just kind of shave that over, and just shows us. So we're using the trowel also as a level guide. Right there. Perfect. Yep.
Dude, I was in Bolivia just fucking Malibu. There's nothing like rolling and yeah. Certainly the rapids that big butterflies.
One more there, one more there. Yep.